Oh, good morning, YouTube. So, this week we're not doing anything too crazy, mainly because of time, partly because of motivation. The front wheels hit the calipers. So, but they still turn freely. It's just, there's like just a high spot on the caliper that I think it's hitting. So, we're going to go ahead, pull the wheels and tires off. Clearance the calipers a little bit, repaint the calipers, clean up the rotors, probably swap out the coilovers, all that. We're going to try to get all that done in this video, but the main thing is get the calipers and the wheels to clear each other. That's the big thing I want to get done. I could do it with a little bit of a spacer, but realistically, I mean, I don't exactly have a ton to play with because, I mean, that's not aligned, and that's got a ton of camber in it right now, and it's basically, by the time you align it, it'd be rubbing the fender. So, and the fender's not exactly bolted on properly. So I want to make that clearance and not have to run a spacer. Then I also have a guy coming, I believe, later today. It might be tomorrow. I think it's today. He's going to look at modifying this, getting that to actually work the way we need it to. And I've discovered that I have the wrong shift cables in it. I put the ones from a Celica ST in it. I needed the ones for a Celica GT in it. So I'm going to have to tear into some of the interior again and all of that fun stuff. And hopefully try and do that with the engine in the car, which is going to be way more of a nightmare than it was to do with the engine not in the car. I was trying to figure out a way to just make these work, but short of finding a way to grind away at the inside of this mount, I'm not seeing anything. So, because the big difference is you can't see it real well, but there's a shoulder right here. I'll show you on these ones. This shouldered area here on the GT cables is much more pronounced than it is on the ST cables. So they won't slide in far enough for me to get the cable to lock in. I was trying to think of ways I could maybe get that to work with the shallower version of the cable, because the cables are already in the car. And I almost feel like getting a drill in there to like eat away at that would be easier than, doing the right thing and changing the cable. Because it doesn't need to be a ton. You can kind of see here. Oh, if I can get it to focus on it. There's that little lip right there. You can see that little groove in the middle of it. That groove just needs to get on the outside of here in order for me to lock it in. So if I can figure out a way to open that up to get that to go in farther, it'd make life a lot simpler. But then I'm afraid that if I do that, it's going to cause the transmission to break. So I don't know. I really just need to swap out the cables. But yeah, that is probably not going to be a in-video thing. That is probably just going to be I'm telling you about it and then it's done. But before we do anything with any of that, I've got to get this cleaned up. The garage is a disaster. I got someone coming over to try to do some work on the car, and they don't need to be trying to work in this crap. I don't need to be trying to trip over all of it either. So that is the goal. We're going to get this cleaned up. I'll be back. All right. Garage is a little bit better. I feel better about it anyway. Need something to drink. Now, some of you might ask, well, if you're trying to make your video shorter, why do you record doing stuff like that? Well, it's kind of simple, honestly. If I don't record it, it takes 4 times longer. And that is because I will take 57 breaks watching TikTok for 10, 15 minutes at a time and turn that, what was a 35-minute task, into a 3-hour task because I will watch more TikTok than I will clean. Because I don't want to do it. And then this never happens. I have a problem. It's okay. I normally also record like 5 or 6 TikToks in that time span as an excuse to not do the cleaning. Versus if I throw the phone up in the tripod and record myself cleaning, I don't do any of that and it actually gets kind of done. So yeah, there's that. Oh, one more drink. I'm too fat for this shit. All right, so what we're actually trying to fix this week. You can hear it. Oh, hey, it actually locked on there that time. Well, you can see it right there. Right here's what we're trying to fix. It hangs up on it a little bit right there. So, and everything is tight. So it's not that, it's just literally, it is that close on the damn wheel. And the pads and everything are brand new. So realistically, the problem wouldn't get any worse than that. But that's the problem. That's already bad enough. So what we're going to do is we're just going to just lightly massage this a little bit. Basically get rid of this mold line. Smooth it out a little bit and go ahead and paint them. That way they're done and on the car properly. And we'll probably go ahead and pull everything else apart, paint everything else, clean up that rotor. Probably not going to like the way I'm going to clean up the rotor is I'm probably just going to go over the wire wheel or some light sandpaper and clean off all the surface rust because those rotors are brand new. They've never actually had a pad ran across them. So I'd like to save those. I don't necessarily want to lose those already and have to buy another new set. But yeah, so that's going to be the plan. Like I said, I needed to get everything cleaned up, so when dude gets here to come look at that exhaust manifold, there's actually somewhere for him to get into. I even left the creeper out for the guy, that way if he doesn't want to lay directly on the floor, he doesn't have to. So, which I've never seen him, never met him before in person, so he might be a big boy like me and not have the extra room for the creeper either. But we'll cross that bridge when he gets here. So, I would like to say I'm going to record some of that, but I'm not going to put the guy on the spot about letting me do it. So, I probably won't. That, and I don't know if he's going to do that here, or if he's going to take this back to his shop and do it. And then do the Y pipe here on the car. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. I don't think he's actually going to weld that up here. I think he's just coming here today because we were talking about it. He wanted me to just, originally the plan was I was going to go drop that off at his shop. And I was like, well, I'll be honest with you. I kind of want a whole Y pipe made for the car too. Might be best if you just come look at the project as a whole and see if it's something you feasibly want to do, or, you know, give me an idea what it's going to cost for it to be done. So he's like, oh, okay. Well, if you want all that done, then yeah, I'll come over and look at it. He's like, it makes more sense then. So, yeah. That's happening. But our project is to deal with those rotors. Now, before I do that, though, I thought I had some flappy discs to put on the grinder to be able to do this with, but I apparently don't. So I'm going to have to make a trip to the Hobo Freight, because apparently I have to do that like every video now. It's becoming a very daunting task. Just going to Harbor Freight because, well, I have to do it every 4 days. not ranting about that at all. Yeah, but it seems that's how it works. I have to go about every 4 days. Or I guess once every 8 days, more realistically, because I got 4 days at work. Then I come out and work on the car. So it's about 8 days between every trip. But I'm there a lot. They need to sponsor me. Maybe not for YouTube, but TikTok. They could do it on TikTok. Help. All jokes aside. Yeah, I want to get that done today. That is going to be the main project for the video. I know I mentioned all that other stuff. We might get to that this video. I just until dude is here and done, I don't know what all I'm going to get done on anything else, because I don't want to go tearing into a bunch of stuff, then him show up, and then like we need to like move stuff or something, or there's a part that is not in his way while he's here that is in his way later. I won't even be able to see it as it's kind of whole right now, so he knows what he's messing with. So, given the brakes are not anywhere near in his way, so I can do that either way. But I got a feeling if I go inside right now, I have kids and a wife awake who would probably like breakfast. So I'm going to go deal with that. All right. We have clearance. What you're hearing still, I think, is either... I think that's the drum just barely touching... Not the drum, but the rotor just barely touching the pads in a couple spots. Because that is spinning very freely. And there's no axle shafts in it at the moment, so... But I mean, that compared to that, which is what I had, is definitely a lot better. So next step now is going to be pull this one off, do the same thing on this one. And then I'm still waiting for dude to come over. He's supposed to come over in a couple hours. And, then I'll start actually probably tearing into more of the stuff. Pulling it all off, getting the garage a little warmed up, and getting some things painted. Because I want to pull the calipers off, I want to paint them. So, and we'll go through and work on some of the other goodies as well. So that actually took a lot less effort than I thought it was going to, given I knew they weren't touching by much, but I thought I was going to have to shave off a lot more spots than I did. Realistically, I was hoping it was the one main spot, and I honestly shaved that one down more than I needed to. But, I mean, because there is, like, just a hair's bit of clearance in there. So I may just barely grind that down just a hair bit more, just to give me a little extra right there in the middle, because I don't think I knocked it down as much in the middle as I did on the sides. And the middle's probably more along the lines of where it was catching anyway. So, but yeah. So we'll probably do a little bit more work, but I'm at a point now where I feel comfortable. I mean, that's definitely spinning freely. So if it's making contact, it's got to be super, super minimal. So yeah, and it doesn't even have a hard stop to it. All right, on to the other side. All right, there we go. That one's now done too. I clearanced this one a little bit more than the other side, so when I pull the other wheel back off to pull it all apart, I'll probably go ahead and do a little bit more to the other one. Kind of to balance out the look, kind of to make sure they got about the same amount of clearance, because this one, while it still looks really tight, it's got more clearance than the other one does. And this one's, the brake is dragging on the rotor on the back side. So it's either that or maybe this axle is a little too tight. It could be either one. I would like to run these wheels. Obviously, that's why I'm clearancing for them, but they do need a lot of work. So we could end up with a different wheel when it's all said and done, but realistically, this is the size I want to run. I want to run a little different tire size than this. I want to run a 205/55 because that matches the transmission better, but I want to run a 15. So I even thought about running the stock Lexus 15s because I have them, which I think would be kind of interesting because I've got Lexus badges laying around that I could put in the grill. I've got the Lexus cover plates for the engine, so I could do that as well. I've got the factory Lexus ES300 wheels that are 15s that clear these, so I could run those as well. And I thought about doing it at one point. That's why I kept all of it as well. Make people go, that's weird. I've never seen a front-wheel drive Lexus wagon. Yeah, you haven't. But yeah, all right. So I think that is it for the minute until dude gets here and we get to working on that manifold. Or at least have a plan of what's going on with that manifold. Got to remember, that hand blocks the camera. It's a little cold out here. But yeah, so there will be more as soon as that's done. I'm not trying to get too involved on taking a lot apart on the cars because I don't want much parts laying around when the guy gets here. I want him to be able to have room to get around the car, do what he needs to do, look at what he needs to look at without any extra stuff in the way. So once I have that done, you guys will get another update. I'll actually start doing some real work this video and not just cleaning and kind of grinding some stuff. We'll pull everything apart, get some of the parts that need painted, and start throwing the new coilovers and stuff on, along with the new tie rod ends, the new ball joints. Because yes, I know I said I replaced the ball joints, but I lost all the hardware for those ball joints. So I bought new ball joints again. Yay. Yeah. So, and we'll see how putting those ones on goes. because it showed me maybe I need to do some clearancing still on the lower control arms to get the bolts in, because I had to modify the lower control arms to work with the ball joints I needed to work with. So, yeah. Is what it is. Not thinking about it. Maybe I should have tried some ball joints from a 93 Celica. Why didn't I think of that? Probably should have tried those. I bet those would have worked. I bet those would have matched the spindles and would have matched the control arms. Huh. Well, that's a fun thought to have now. Too late. Everything's modified. So, food for thought for next time. Maybe I'll just end up having to buy a new set of control arms, too. What's it going to matter at this point in the project? Alright, as you can see there's no header sitting on the table. Guy has come and picked that up, looked at the Corolla, and actually seems mildly excited to work on it. It's a little different build, so he's like, this is kind of cool. So, and we did some talking. There might be some other things that get some work done to him as well. It should be pretty good. I'm kind of excited for it. So, but yeah. But now that that's done and taken care of, I know what I need to have done for him and what I need to have ready for him. Now I can start getting other things done. So the next goal is going to be is I need to figure out how I'm getting the shifter cables and stuff out of here, getting the other one swapped in. But I'm not going to bother doing that on camera because that is going to be a nightmare to do. That's going to be a nightmare to do in general, let alone on camera. The next thing you guys are going to see is we're going to go and get the whole front suspension pulled basically back apart and off the car and start getting everything cleaned up and painted so we can put it back on. He does want the passenger side CV shaft in, so that's something else I can go and check off my list and get done. So yeah, we have a set list of things I need to get done and figure out one way or another. He went ahead and left me the other one, the other manifold that I welded together in the car. We were talking about him taking it too, so he had a little bit better idea visually what he was doing. But it was going to be a pain to get out at the moment because the shifter cable's kind of in the way of it. So that will allow me to kind of work and route some things around out of the way and know where I'm going with stuff. Hand gestures. So yeah, I'm excited because he was a cool dude. So I didn't film any of it. I didn't ask him if I could film any of it. He comes over to do the Y pipe. I'll probably try to make that a bit of a video and get that figured out. But yeah, but we definitely talked about once this is done that there may be another white pipe that needs to be made. And I didn't get a chance to talk to him about it. But if I swap this intake onto there, I also think there's going to be a intake tube that needs made as well. If he thinks he's game for it. Which he seems like he's game to do whatever. So, should be a fun time. And I got a feeling this dude's going to get quite a bit of my money. So, yeah. All right. Let's get some work done. So, we're going to have like 30 seconds of education in this one. So, when you guys are working on a project like this Corolla, and I'm sure a lot of you that are this in-depth on a car know this, and you need to remember it though, because my dumbass didn't, and that is, whenever you're tearing something this far apart, label, 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 label all of your bolts. Because, as you remember last video, I was fighting with some of the crossmember bolts, putting them back in, and it literally looked like one of them I couldn't get to go in because I stripped it, and another one looked like I got it part way in and broke the bolt off because of, and I blamed it on rust. Well, here, let me show you what I did. So here's basically the bolt I was trying to put on. As you can see, right here's a nut that fits it. You know. Works well. Now, I thought I stripped the bolt out, or the nut out for one of these. Here's the real problem. It was the wrong size bolt. The hole was actually catching the sides, or the bolt was actually catching the sides of the hole. I was threading into the sides of the hole. I wasn't actually even threading into the bolt. The one that I thought I broke the bolt or broke the nut off of the welds with was actually bottomed out on the bottom of the bolt. And it was just kind of stuck there. I literally popped it out with a wrench and figured out that it was actually a slightly shorter version of this bolt is what needed to be in it. So let's see if I can get these together on camera. You can kind of see the size difference there. That's why I did this, because I mean that very clearly shows the size difference. So yeah, always label. Bag, put them in storage bins like that. Label all of it, because it will save you so much time. It's not even funny. And like, double check part fitment too, because like I've got to fight with trying to swap out these shifter cables because I didn't bother to check to make sure the two pairs I had were the exact same ones. And I should have known they weren't, because this end was different on the other set. In my head, they were different because one was out of a newer car. Because like these were out of like a 94, 95. That set I thought was out like a 97, 98. You know, it's just a little bit of a variation difference. I forgot that I had parted out as ST. So yeah, guys. Moral of the story: label your stuff, double check your stuff before you go crazy installing it in the car. It will save you so much time. So much time. Honestly, been avoiding most of what I wanted to do this weekend because of this exact thing. Because I wanted to get those bolts fixed before I even did anything else with the suspension. Because I knew I was probably going to have to pull a majority of the suspension off to get into the spots to actually be able to cut it into the chassis to be able to fix those bolts. Glad I didn't do that before I double checked more. That would have really sucked to figure out after I cut into the car and had to weld it back up. But anyway, on to what we're meant to be doing. So I feel like I don't need to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. That is not how you're supposed to do that. But the problem is I'm in Ohio and it's like 30 degrees outside right now. All the parts are cold. I forgot the paint in the car. So I had to heat everything at least a little bit. Not the right way to do it, but it works kind of. So I'm hoping everything will dry quick enough that I can start putting it back together tonight. If not, well, at least we figured out some other things in this video. Now I got to pull the other side apart yet, do the same thing. Still need to clean up the rotors. Probably not going to do any painting on the rotors tonight, just because that's a lot of cleaning to do before I can paint. So might not touch the rotors tonight. We'll see. I'd kind of like to at least hit the surfaces of them just because it'll look better going back together. But we'll see. So, because that is the goal, is to get it all cleaned up to this point and be able to start putting it back together. And I got to figure out my brake hoses and stuff, because I think that appears to be the passenger side one. That one back there appears to be the driver's side one. So I can set that one to the side. Now I got to pull apart the passenger side, do the same thing for that. I'll go ahead and do that off camera so I can just knock it out quicker. Even though the camera's really not slowing me down tonight other than doing this. Because a lot of this is just going to be time lapse. Voila, there it is. You got to see me do it type deal. So, yeah. All right. But again, not the right way to do this. But it works. Also, probably not great to point up, a heat gun at boiled linseed oil and mineral spirits, both of which I believe are flammable. So, but so spray paint. So I don't know. Basically what I'm saying, don't do this. This was dumb. But if I'm trying to get something done in a certain time period, I don't got many other choices right now. Kind of sucks. So, it's about a week later. I messed up, and I realized that partway through filming last week when I told you I need to get this done in one day. I had the wrong ball joints. The ones I had my wife order were for a first generation Scion TC, because I swore up and down that is what we had ordered when we ordered these. These were for a Scion TC. But the matching ones she found were not for a TC. They were for a RAV4. So the first set I had her order was completely wrong, and here we are a week later. Now we're going to make it work, because those appear to be the same ball joint, so I'm hoping they're right. If not, we're going to have other issues. So, because I want to get the whole front end put back together. I still need different sway bar end links, but I'm going to cross that bridge a little later. I'm not really worried about them right now. Just because I don't know if I want to just put some stock ones on or if I want to buy adjustable, what I want to do there yet. Still up in the air on exactly how crazy I want to go with certain things at this point, because I'm not going as crazy with the engine stuff as I originally had planned. So it's kind of a toss-up. But we're back again. We're going to get the front suspension put together, and then we are also getting the manifold back today as well. I think getting the manifold on and changing out the shifter cables and everything is either just going to be done off camera or it's going to be another video. It ain't going to be this video. So all that being said, time for me to shut up, time to dive in. Let's get some shit done. Well, there we go. We are back together for the time being. Is not perfect, nor is it done. But that being said, for everything I needed to figure out, this is where I needed to be. Plus, I need to go get the CV shafts out in order to, the stubs that are left of them anyway, in order to do that. Kind of need the car on the ground, so yeah. This one still seems to rub a bit now that it's painted. So I think I'm going to end up touching this one up with the grinder a little bit more. But now, at least with some paint scuffs, I know exactly where I need to do it. And it's not such a guessing game now. So there is that. Or maybe I'll just change the wheels altogether and be done with these damn things. Because apparently they don't want to work. Even though I really wanted to run 15s. Just might not be these 15s. Or maybe I'll just get a small spacer. As you guys seen, I didn't really put cotter pins in anything. Part of that is because I don't know if this is the final time all this is going together or not. And I'm not 100% sure that tie rod end is going to work. So it doesn't seem like it wants to seat all the way down in, which I can modify the spindles and that's not an issue. I can get the reaming tool and do that, but I don't know if that's the route I want to go. So, but for now, that roll's at least good enough to move the car around if need be. So I think with that being said, we are going to go ahead and get the other side down and get it put on the ground. All right, so we got it back down on all four. This is as good as it's going to get for now. Like I said, I don't think any of that is truly permanent at this point because I believe there's going to be a few things I'm going to change. Ooh, adjustable. Sorry. But this gets me to where I now know 100% what I'm working with, where I'm at with those parts, and what may still need to change one way or another. And the more I mess with these, the more I'm realizing maybe I just need to put some 17s on it and not deal with all the clearance issues that I'm having. And that's partially because I kind of knew going into it that 15s are kind of hard to fit to the V6 brakes. I've read it everywhere. Pretty much if they weren't specifically for that car, they're a pain to make fit. Most offsets are a little wrong. I think these were like from a Mazda or something. Or from, I think these might have actually been from an all-wheel drive Mitsubishi, actually. One or the other. They weren't from a Toyota. They definitely weren't off of a Camry. Actually, if I remember right, they came from my brother-in-law, and they were a backup set of wheels for his rally car thing he was going to build at one point and then scrap the whole idea. How I ended up with the wheels and tires. Might also not have that exact memory correct. I don't know. Either way. So, you might not see it on these wheels and tires very much longer. You might see it on the other two of the silver wheels, or I might pull an entirely different set of wheels out of the side room altogether because I have about as many sets of wheels as I have sets of cars. So, I can change those around a lot too. But I am happy I tried it at least. It did show me what parts I need to change, what things I've put together wrong in the past. Like I just figured out my brake lines are not right side to side. I got them flip-flopped. So I want to change my rubber lines around. That tie rod end I thought was correct. It doesn't appear to be as correct as I thought it was. That is also like the third tie rod end I think I've tried on the car. So, needless to say, I got some more parts figuring out to get to. But, we're still making some kind of progress, so I'm happy with that. And I needed to get it back down on the ground so I can do the CV shafts, because I already tried hitting these to get them out while they're on the workbench off camera, and it was not working. I'm going to need to put some actual effort into it with some weight on them. So what better weight than the car itself? So that being said, next time, I have no idea what I'm going to show you guys, but I'm going to show you something. I'm going to talk to the guy that's going to be making the white pipe. Maybe I'll try recording that when he comes over to do it. I don't want to be pushy or buggy him about it, though. So if he's cool with it, I might set up a camera for you guys so you guys can see what he's doing. I definitely don't want to slow him down in that process though while he's working on it. So if I can record it while he's doing it, I will. If not, I'll just show you some snapshots of him doing it. As long as he's okay with being on camera. So until the next video, you guys remember, it's about the adventure, not the destination. Get out and work on something. Enjoy your holidays. They're coming up. And I'll see you all next time.